Jyotsna. I'm representative of Frontlist e-magazine. I'm so excited to have you on board and welcome to Frontlist. So, ma'am, you are a very great author and writer. So, our audience would like to know who you are actually. Tell something about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Venita Coelho. I write across several genres. I'm better known as a children's author. I've got several books out for children. And they won a lot of awards. I've won the Sahitya Academy Award. I've won the Hindu Goodreads Award twice. I've won the Pika Book Award. I've won the Neve Award. So as a children's author, I've done pretty well for myself. I also write for adults. My special interest really is writing slightly eerie stuff for adults. I also spent a very long time writing film and television. And so I also have a book out that's on how to write for television. It's called Writing and Surviving Television. So my books basically represent the width of my life. So I've done all kinds of things in my life. So I have all kinds of books out there. I am now 11 books old. So that's me.
Okay. So how was your experience when you're working in television industry? So how was it?
Television is very different to writing books. Firstly, television is very collaborative. You know, at the time when I was writing, there were daily soaps. So when you're writing a daily soap, there's several writers on it because you have to pump out an episode a day. So you get to do very little yourself. It's all dictated to you. The story is written by someone else. You know, story outline is written by someone else. Then it comes to you as a screenwriter. Then you write it. Then the channel gives you feedback. So it's very frustrating. You are continuously being asked to do things that other people want, which is why I actually turned to writing books, because writing books was wonderful. Nobody tells you what to do. You're the boss.
So
You're the boss.
So I've already shared the list of questions, what I'm going to ask today to you. So let's get started. So tell your book, Dark Tales, has get so much attention in a Gothic genre Sweden, right? It's a dark genre novel. So we would like to know, have you ever felt any horror event in your life? Because your books are almost dark and Gothic touch, right? So have you ever experienced any horror event?
You know, I haven't ever experienced any ghost, but you know, our family had lots of ghost stories. We had this one famous uncle who apparently had run away and joined the tantrics, and when he came back, he used to do really strange things. So our family has a history of really scary stories. And when I was little, I lived in Calcutta, and every time there was a market, my mother would tell me terrible ghost stories. So the love of ghost stories comes from there, but I haven't personally seen a ghost. I don't know how I'd react actually, but I'm quite glad I haven't.
So would you like to tell us something about any, story or something which is, spirit related to the audience?
Well, if you want to hear a spirit related story, there are 11 in this book, 11 of these.
Okay, yeah. So tell us, how do you came up with this idea that you want to write Dark Tales, or how did you, come up with the idea of this particular story, this particular collections of stories?
I wanted to write stories that would scare the whole of India. I said, everyone in India to be really scared. So the first thing I had to do was figure out what scares India. And I thought about the things that we as a nation had been really shaken by. And we'd been shaken by the Nirbhaya case. I mean, that's the most terrifying thing that any woman can think of happening.
Okay.
We'd been terrified by the Upkar cinema case, if you remember that. All these people went to watch a movie in a hall and a fire happened and the doors were locked and they couldn't get out and they all just burned to death. I found the Nithari case very scary, if you remember that. All those little children who were killed outside Delhi. So I took all of these stories and I used them as backdrops to supernatural stories. I added ghosts. So we have out there stuff that India already finds really scary, and I added a layer of ghost stories to it, which is how I put this book together. So I wanted to be young, I wanted to be contemporary, and I wanted to scare every single person in India.
Yeah, it's
so let's
very
see if I did that.
Yeah, I've read the comments. on Google. It's very scary. So, how long did you take to write this Dark Tales novel?
I come out of television. And when you come out of television, you tend to write very fast because you've got the habit. TV, you're writing an episode a day because that's what it takes. So you sit down and write. So it's normally for me about 3 months to a first draft.
Okay.
Then after that, I take about a month off just to get, you get so close to your subject, you're too involved. So you need some distance. So I take a month off and then I go back to do my second draft. My second draft is the one where the really heavy work happens. And then there's a third polished draft where you just polish it and you enjoy it and you sit back and tell yourself, what nice stories I've written. So all told, a book normally takes between 7 months to a year to write. So this one did the same. But this one is short stories. So I did it in between other projects. I'd be doing other projects and then I'd take a break and say, let me write a nice small little short story. And I'd write a short story. I'd go back. So it was written across a length of time.
So don't you feel disconnect? You are, doing your work along with your writing. So sometimes don't you feel like, yeah, I'm disconnecting from my story or something? Have you ever felt it?
As a professional writer, you end up learning some tricks. So one of I've learned, and I'm sharing this with all of you out there who want to be writers, is that when I start writing a book, I choose a theme song. I choose one song and I listen to it on my headphones while I'm working. And what happens is that even if I leave that writing and I come back after 3 months, if I put my headphones on and listen to that song, I connect with my story immediately.
Okay.
It just works. It's like kind of a mnemonic device. That particular song will bring back everything. It will bring back the pitch. It will bring back the tone. You'll start writing as if you'd never taken a break. So that's what works.
Okay. So from the last year, we all are struggling with COVID-19 time. So I want to ask, as an author, what's your life? Something has changed because of COVID-19, or you're saying life you have been living?
21 years ago, I got fed up of living in a big city. I got sick of Bombay. I just left it all and I shifted to Goa. So I live in Goa in this old house. You can see the roof above me. And I'm a writer. I also homeschool my daughter. I sit at home and write. So I had a COVID ready life. Nothing changed. My life is basically exactly as it was before COVID. My daughter's still homeschooling. I'm still sitting and writing. I'm going for walks with my dog down to the river that's behind my house. And we've managed to keep sane. What did change for me really was that all through COVID, when I saw those images of all the migrants who were forced to walk home, when I saw these images of bodies by the Ganga, it disturbed me. And that became very difficult to get over. I stopped writing. I just shut down because I was asking myself, what kind of stories can you tell in times like this? What makes sense? How can you sit down and write a light-hearted story at a time like this? When your country is in this kind of terrible, disastrous state, what do you write? And I couldn't answer that question for several months. For several months, I didn't write, but I have finally got back to writing, which is a relief because when I don't write, I'm very cranky. I'm not a nice person to know.
It's nice that you get back to your schedule. Okay, so in upcoming years, how do you perceive our literature industry in upcoming years for authors, for their future in India? I'm not talking about outside the India, but right now for Indian authors.
As a population, we have the largest English-speaking population in the world. It's India, because the Chinese speak Chinese. So we are the largest English-speaking population in the world. And yet our book sales don't reflect that, which I've always found really strange. Basically, Indians read when it's something that they have to study for college or for school. Otherwise, they don't bother. So I think unless we as an industry work to build a reading habit, our industry is not going to expand or change very much from what it is right now. So what I do see is a coming of age of authors. You're suddenly seeing much, much better work coming out of India.
Yeah.
You're seeing many genres. People are really writing outstandingly well. And I must mention that especially in children's literature, the kind of writing that's been done by Indian children's authors is outstanding. It's on par with anything in the world. So the writers are getting better. The work is getting better, but we really need to grow an audience. And there are many ways in which you grow an audience. And one of the ways you do that is by having an ecosystem that actually has awards for good writing. We don't have enough of those. You know, in the world of children's literature, there's exactly 3 awards that you can possibly win. There are no more. In the world of regular literature, where there's awards for literary writing, where are the awards for horror stories? Where are the awards for detective stories? Where are the awards for fantasy books? They don't exist. And until we start recognizing and encouraging authors, we will not be able to grow a larger audience. So I think that's really important. Somebody needs to step up and, you know, recognize the work that's being done. Good work is being done.
But we are happy Narendra Modi has taken a initiative for young authors recently, Yuva. So let's see what will gonna happen next for the author industry. So
Yeah.
your book Dark Tales is your publisher is Penguin Random House. So I would like to know, why did you choose Penguin Random House as your publisher?
I actually didn't choose them, they chose me. So I'd sent the stories across to a friend of mine to read, and she was like, boss, I'm sending them to Penguin. I'm like, I don't know whether they'll be interested. And next thing I knew, Penguin had got in touch and said, we're really interested and we would like to publish these. I said, yeah, yes. I didn't even have to go out and search. I found a publisher on my doorstep. So yeah, they chose me. It's been wonderful.
Do you have any favorite publisher?
I publish with several publishers because I write across several genres.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm published by HarperCollins, I'm published by Scholastic, I'm published by Penguin, I'm published by Hachette. I must confess that as a children's author, my favorite publisher is Scholastic, because the Scholastic team works very, very, very hard. They do book sales for you, and they do, you know, melas at schools. And when you visit a mela, the team is actually sat and made banners welcoming you, and they put balloons up. It's very endearing. So Scholastic works very hard in the field, and they're my children's author among children's publishers. That's really an outstanding publisher. Among the others, Penguin has actually been marvelous. The kind of marketing attention that they've given this book has surprised me. Thank you, Penguin. You've done a great job.
It was amazing with you. I had a really, really great interview. And thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome.
Bye. Have a good day. Bye.
Coming to that. Bye-bye.